You want to plant in their mind that it could make somebody under the influence, then it's not relevant. I mean, you could ask her what she knows about baking banana cream pies, and it's not relevant. But then that gets to the probative and prejudicial. You're going to plant in their mind that 5.8 could be this, but you've got nobody that can tie this to him. But they've got to have evidence to do that. So unless you've got some offer of proof to get us from that theoretical to that live body, it's more prejudicial than probative. I mean, if you want to have a chance to talk to her in your OIC, we'll take a break, but we got theoretical and we got live bodies. There's got to be some kind of evidential connection.
So there's going to be a video presented. I've got the officer, Officer Tony is going to testify, and he's going to be, he was wearing a body cam, so that's all going to be there. And then the only other witness that we have is the state police lab person. And she's present already. So she drove down from Lansing, so we're going to take her out of order, put her on first, which is a little backwards. Usually we put the officer on first, but in order to make economical for the lab person, she's got to get back to Lansing. So we'll put her on first. So, but my job is to present the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to satisfy you that in this case, in Sumter Township, Mr. Block had operated a motor vehicle. At the time the police came upon him, he was in a car on Clark Road, and somebody had called the police because the car was in the road with the door open, and Mr. Block was sleeping. He was dead tired, I guess, passed out. So you'll see the interaction with the officer. What transpired there with the officer was great deliberation made because alcohol, they thought it was under the influence of alcohol, but it turns out it wasn't alcohol, but it was marijuana. So after great deliberation, I thought the officers do a real good job trying to just, winnow through what actually happened and narrow it down. But the decision was made to place Mr. Block under arrest, and at that point offer him a blood which he consented to. And that transpired. They took him to the hospital to do the blood, and then it's up to the state. The results of that show it's in, believe it or not, if anybody doesn't have any experience with marijuana, it's in nanograms. Nanograms. You see it on the lab result. It's got NG. There's two nanogram results. One is the one, and one is what's called carboxy. Carboxy means what's in your system, maybe from smoked marijuana previously, days or weeks ahead of time, it builds up in your system, and then it gives you a level. And so the lab person can see as to what all that means, but she is not going to be able to say, she can't make the decision for you whether Mr. Block was operating or had operated a vehicle under the influence. That's to be strictly your call. You have the real ultimate job here is to make that decision. All we're going to do is present the evidence. Mr. Duncan is the defense lawyer. We'll try to poke holes in whatever we present, and ultimately we'll come back to you folks to make the decision. That's the $64,000 was Mr. Block had operated a motor vehicle while under the influence of marijuana, or would his ability been impaired as a result of the consumption of marijuana. So that's it in a nutshell. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Hello, again. So this case is a little bit different, and it's a criminal case, so it's very serious. My client's accused of committing a crime. So what the evidence is going to, there's some stuff the evidence is going to show, there won't really be much doubt about it. You're going to see, and you're going to give testimony that Mr. Block was parked on Clark Road, which is a dirt road, in kind of some period you're uncomfortable. He was parked on the side, not in the middle of the road, which you may hear if you're going to see the video, but he was parked on the side of the road. Engine is off, and it's going to show Mr. Block is sleeping. His door is open. That's probably the one thing that's a little bit different. That unopened door evidence is going to show. So The question is, was Mr. Black operating that vehicle while intoxicated by marijuana? The evidence you're gonna hear, when the officer gets there and he brings a couple other officers over. So we have 3 officers there in the end. The officer, and you're gonna see it's pretty obvious, is not buying anything that anybody's saying. He thinks that my client is under the influence of alcohol. He thinks he smells, or if he can't smell it, then he does smell it at some point in time. But there is no alcohol. You're gonna see evidence saying 0 for alcohol. But the evidence is gonna show that that officer told me, at least from the beginning, that, in my opinion, I believe you're gonna see that Mr. Black was intoxicated. So what do we have to show? To show that he's intoxicated? A, it's operating on intoxicated case. Operating on a motor vehicle. You have to show that the driving was substantially effective. So I guess what the evidence, what the prosecutor is gonna try to show, is the fact that he's parked with the engine off sleeping is enough to show you that his driving was substantially effective. You know, I don't believe you're gonna hear any evidence of any driving prior to that. You're not gonna hear any, you're not gonna see or hear any evidence that the driving was off, except for him being asleep. I mean, in the road. And you're gonna hear some sobriety tests. The officer Tony gave some sobriety tests. I want you to listen closely as to whether Officer Tony is qualified to give sobriety tests. I mean, that's something you get qualified to do when you want people on a jury or a judge to hear it and comment on it. So I'm just gonna leave it to you, and you can listen to the evidence when Officer Tony testifies to see if he was even qualified to give these tests. And then you're gonna get a lab report saying 5.8 nanograms. The other number really isn't important. I'll let the lab tell you what it means, but it doesn't mean anything for purpose to what we're here for today. I don't believe I could be wrong, but I don't believe. So what does 5.8 nanograms mean? How does that affect you to say that you're intoxicated? When does that mean you use marijuana? Did you smoke marijuana? Did you take gummies? Has it been hours? Has it been a day? That's what we have to hear if you want to use a number without any context. You're not going to get any context on this number. It's 5.8 nanograms. That's what the testimony is. So I want you to have to, I'm hoping that you will try to, in order, in my opinion, for the prosecutor to prove this case, they have to prove these things. They just can't come and show you a number and say, this is it, there's marijuana. There's marijuana is legal, and people smoke marijuana. Doesn't mean people drink alcohol and drive. That doesn't mean there can be in a crime. It's gotta be to a point. So I believe after you hear all the evidence, my position, that the client was parked on the side of the road, sleeping. It's not a crime. He was sleeping. And that's, I hope you see it my way and you find not guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Are we ready for the witness?
Yes.
What's your name? Kellogg? Good morning. All the way up front, please. Raise your right hand. Swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth today. Watch your step on my ramp. Make yourself comfortable in that chair. Kellogg like the cereal,
Like that, not the same.
but spelled the same. Thank you. When you're ready.
We still, thank you for coming down on the Philadelphia Lansing today. Thank you very much. And Gary understands that we're taking you out of border. We're trying to get you back up to Lansing to get your job, so. Give you the full name for the record, please.
My name is Samantha Kellogg.
And you were employed with the state of Michigan, correct?
Yeah,
And what is your job title?
I am currently a supervisor in the tax collector.
And how long have you been supervisor of the lab?
Coming up on 3 years.
And prior to that, you worked in the lab also before you became supervisor, you worked your way up, correct?
Yes, I was a forensic scientist in the toxicology unit.
Okay, and in your training and in your education, you have submitted a resume, which we got here, got it marked.
Yes, I do.
You have an objection to it?
Yeah, I have an objection. Judge, if I may.
Yeah.
The lab tech's being admitted, which I don't object to, there's a syllabus on the lab tech's qualifications, which I guess I don't object to, but there's an article from somebody I don't know, I certainly object to that from being introduced. I don't know what that is, but I don't.
Okay, so you're, Mr. Hurley, you're trying to get in her resume?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Exhibit number 2, the lab report, exhibit number 1, and then number 3 is an article that Ms. Kellogg presented to us as a basis for her background in.
okay, well, let's break it up. Any objections to 1 and 2? One is,
One, I don't object to. 2, I think the witness can testify to, but I mean, usually the witness will testify to it, but no, I don't object to 2, but 3 I do.
okay, so when, what's the objection to 3?
It's an article written by a third party.
So it's hearsay?
It's not
Okay,
the witness.
okay,
It's not offered to prove the truth of the matter, sort of, it's just background in terms of what Ms. Kellogg is going to base her education and what she does on. This is primarily her source.
But I didn't testify.
yeah,
We get live
Okay,
testimony.
well, I'd be happy to go into it. I'd be happy to go into it.
I'll hold off on the objections, and see where we go.
What I have here is what's been marked. Exhibits 1 and 2. Exhibit 1 is the lab report. Exhibit 2 is your CV, correct?
Yes,
Curriculum vitae, and that goes over your background and education. And so you've been in this business for a while. You're not that old, but you've been in this for a little while.
I've been working for the state police lab for 11 years.
Okay. So you deal strictly with alcohol or drugs or both?
We do testing primarily on blood for both alcohol and drugs.
Okay, and you are trained with regard to controlled substance, marijuana?
Yes,
In Michigan, is marijuana a controlled substance?
that's a difficult question. We do follow the federal list of controlled substances, so it is listed on there. However, there was also the vote that allowed recreational marijuana here, so that can get a little complicated in different jurisdictions handle that.
So with regard to marijuana, as I understand it, the active ingredient is THC, correct?
Yes, Delta 9 THC.
And that's basically what is the controlled substance portion of it.
Yes, that is.
And in this particular case, what would be the process or protocol with regard to your involvement? You received some sort of package that was delivered from the Sumter Township Police Department?
Yes, in this case, the sample was received through the mail. That's how the majority of our samples get to our lab, as we do cover the entire state. So it was received in the mail, and one of our forensic technicians logged the sample into our computer system. Basically, they opened the box, they cataloged the evidence that was received and the paperwork that comes with it, and we make notes in our computer system of any discrepancies labeled on the blood tubes and that paperwork. And that it awaits further testing.
And this is called the chain of custody because we want to make sure that the sample you have is actually linked up to the person that's on trial, correct?
Yes.
And what sort of protections do you have with regard to your lab report there? You have a number that's been assigned to this particular defendant, this particular person?
Yes, so we have both the incident number that comes from the agency that's on that submission paperwork. And then we also assign each case its own unique laboratory number that stays with that case throughout any testing.
Okay, and then with regard to this particular sample that you received, what did you do with regard to the sample?
So I was assigned to test this sample for cannabinoids, so that includes THC and its metabolites. So basically, the way the process works is I would remove a small portion of the blood from the original blood tube. I then treat it with various chemicals in order to remove any proteins in the blood, anything that would not be a potential drug of interest. And after that filtration process, I run it on an instrument known as liquid chromatography mass spectrometry. So the liquid chromatography part of that separates out all of the chemicals in a sample, and the mass spectrometry allows us to identify which chemicals they are. So that is the process that I followed in order to test the sample.
So in this particular case, when you did that process, what particular chemical was identified?
I found delta-9 THC and delta-9 carboxy THC, which is an inactive metabolite.
And if you could tell the jury, give some sort of explanation as to what those two, what does that mean?
The
A nanogram is what?
A nanogram is the typical concentration that we would expect to see this or most of the other drugs we test for. That's just the amount that we would expect to see in someone's blood. If you have a prescribed medication, you may see that it's prescribed in a certain number of milligrams. By the time that gets distributed out throughout your entire system and all the blood is provided, we would expect to see most drugs in.
And what about the carboxy side of it? What is that, what would that mean?
The carboxy is the breakdown product of the delta-9 THC and is inactive, meaning it would have no impact on us.
So in this particular case, the result was 0.5 point something nanograms, correct?
Yes, 5.8 nanograms of the delta-9 THC.
And that would be inactive within the system at the time the blood was drawn,
Yes, it is active.
which means somebody had recently ingested the marijuana.
I would not be able to say if it was recently used or not.
With regard to the effects of marijuana, I know that you were clear in your communication prior that you were not going to be able to speak as to this particular defendant with regard to marijuana, but in terms of what would you expect to see as manifestation of somebody that had 5 nanograms of marijuana in their system? What sort of
Actually,
behavior?
Your Honor, I would like to give some qualification that the witness is qualified to testify as to the behavior of somebody. She's qualified to give the numbers and to say she did the test, but I haven't heard anything saying she's qualified to give the behavior.
Mr. Hurley, you want to try to lay some foundation? Go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor, I think what I was trying to get at regarding this exhibit was the opinion of Ms. Kellogg is based upon scientific research that she has read and understands. I certainly don't, but what it says is going to be, this is entitled Cannabis Effects on Driving Skills. Now, I'm not going to say that what is in here necessarily applies to Mr. Block, but I think as a general rule, as a general understanding of what could potentially be affected, what the driving skills could be affected by the use of cannabis. I think that's what's key here, and that's what the jury needs to hear.
Judges, the witness has testified and answered. She said she can't give an opinion on how the most recent use. So if she
Well, I
can't,
think what she testified, she couldn't say when the use, the result of 5.8, she can't, from that, you can't determine when that went into the body
That's correct.
or when it went into the sample. I don't know how you would say it. The person that had the sample you tested, you can't say when they ingested.
No,
Okay, so that's what she said.
I won't keep going with it, but if the witness is gonna testify as what she has read in an article, I can't cross-examine.
That's hearsay,
Yeah, seriously.
right?
That's her.
So you can,
If it was her article and her article, then there'd be no problem.
well, I agree.
Rather, in her CV, it indicates that Ms. Kellogg has been trained in, as an expert with regard to cannabis effects and driving skills.
Well, that's why I asked you to lay some foundation, and you started talking about an article that's not coming in because it's hearsay. So if you want to ask her more questions about what qualifies her to give the opinion leading to the question you want to ask, then try to lay the foundation. I'll give Mr. Duncan a chance to follow up.
So with regard to that issue, your CV indicates that you have specialized training and you are an expert with regard to cannabis effects on driving skills.
I don't believe it specifically says that I'm an expert or that it is in cannabis effects on driving skills, but I do have training and experience on the effects of various drugs on
Various drugs, including cannabis.
Okay. Objection, she's not an expert. She just said she's not an expert. So, I mean, is she gonna give expert testimony or just lay testimony?
So let's nail it down. I think what you're saying is a relevancy objection.
Well, yes.
I just want to know what he's going to respond to.
Yes. I believe she'd have to come in as an expert and be qualified as an expert to testify the way she wants to testify. She's saying she's not an expert, right with that, I'm not an expert. So she's gonna give lay testimony as to testimony that should come in through an expert.
Response.
And I believe that she is an expert with regard to.
Well, she just said she wasn't.
With regard to, what's listed there in terms of okay.
Well, let's just do it this way, because this is only a marijuana case. Are you an expert? Have you ever been qualified as an expert as to the effects of marijuana on individuals?
not on a specific individual, but overall effects that it could have.
Okay,
I just
Okay.
can't say.
Okay.
I'm an expert because it's determined by.
Okay. right. So you can talk about what effects it could have, but you can't specify as to this particular defendant on a particular date and time.
That's correct.
Right. Does that clarify?
Not asking her to speak directly as to anything specific as to Mr. Blau.
Okay.
Just what the general effects would be.
I guess I object for relevancy because it doesn't pertain to the defendant. It's going to be specifically stated by a witness. It doesn't pertain to the defendant, but it may happen. And prejudicial testimony coming in. It says testimony as what might happen, well, but it might not affect the defendant. So I got two of it.
Well, pick one and talk about relevancy or prejudicial.
Expand on with regard to the jury about what would be the possible effects of cannabis on somebody who had used cannabis. I'm not saying that, I'm not asking Ms. Kellogg to testify with regard to this specific defendant about what she did on the video or anything like that. Just in general, I think it's important for the jury to hear that.
Okay, so then that gets it to the prejudicial versus probative. If it doesn't help in this case, if it doesn't apply to this defendant, how is it not more prejudicial than probative? You want to plant in their mind that it could make somebody under the influence.
To prove the truth of the matter asserted, I'm just offering it as general knowledge that this particular witness has.
Then it's not relevant. I mean, you could ask her what she knows about baking banana cream pies, and it's not relevant.
Well, I think cannabis effects on driving skills is relevant to this particular case. Maybe not to this particular defendant, but in general, I think it's.
But then that gets to the probative and prejudicial. You're going to plan in their mind that 5.8 could be this, but you've got nobody that can tie this to him.
Well, that's where they're gonna have to make that decision.
But they've got to have evidence to do that. So unless you've got some offer of proof to get us from that theoretical to that live body, it's more prejudicial than probative. I mean, if you want to have a chance to talk to her in your OIC, we'll take a break, but we got theoretical and we got live bodies. There's got to be some kind of evidential connection.
I don't think it's gonna be productive to take any more time on this issue. So, so what you have there, are your two exhibits, they're admitted, Your Honor, exhibit 1 and 2.
Yeah, those have been admitted.
With the relative time difference from the time the blood is drawn until from when the incident happened to the time the blood was drawn, would that have a factor in any way in terms of the result of nanograms in the body?
I am not able to tell you what a potential result may have been at any other time. What I can tell you is that the peak delta 9 THC concentration typically occurs within 15 minutes of someone smoking, and it only goes down from there. It does not go back up.
Thank you, Your Honor, that's all I have.
Your witness.
Go up. On my side, though.
So when I'm looking at that test, I see 5.8 milligrams, and you do this all the time. So what is the range? I mean, 0 will be no active in THC, correct?
Correct.
So what's the range going forward? What's the highest amount to be?
We quantify from 1 to 100 nanograms. I have seen some that are over 100. I have seen some that are less than 1 or negative.
So the scale is from 0 to 100, but it could go past 100.
Yes, we just would not assign a number to it past that. It would be recorded as.
And this number was 5.8.
Yes.
Another perfect.
Ms. Kellogg, I've got a question for you. So I think what I heard you say is that peak levels after smoking would be at 15 minutes. What about other ways of getting the THC in your system, like gummies or edibles or vapes or anything else?
So
Does it change?
about the same as smoking, because that is one of the fastest way to get any drug into your system.
Okay.
Because it interacts directly with the blood in the lungs.
Okay.
But if it was eaten, it does take longer because it has to go through the digestive system.
Okay.
So
Okay.
an hour and a half to 2 hours that it tends to peak.
Okay.
Eating that way.
Okay. Thank you. Grandpa was right. Learn something new every day.
So with regard to the range, you have from 0 to, in this case, 5.9. Does it range higher? Could it go to 10 or 20?
Yes, we report up to 100.
Up to what?
100.
Okay, so the spectrum is from 0 to 100, in this case, 5.9, and 5.9 is that a significant number?
Well, she says, I would object to testify, she can't make, well, I'll look at this.
Withdraw the objection.
Yes.
Okay.
It was 5.8, and it's a number that we are able to report at.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ron.
So I think you said, I'm trying to figure out how you said it, but I think you said that you only deal with 1 to 100.
That is the range
Right.
in which we report a specific.
Right. Because under 1, it's not significant enough to be accurate to report? Or why is the reason that you wouldn't put a 0.5, for example?
Yes, so how it actually works is we report down to approximately a 0.5, but not with a specific number. We
Okay.
would just report it as less than 1.
Okay.
We are only able to report within the range that we have calibrators covering, so our calibrators.
Okay.
And at 100.
Okay.
We have to pick a number somewhere.
Right.
So we can't assign numbers.
Right. All right. So theoretically, somebody could have 200 nanograms, but your instruments don't register that range. So you just know it's more that it's like my speedometer, right? My speedometer goes to 120. I may be going 150, but my speedometer says 120.
Correct.
And just for the record, World Wide Web, I don't go 120 or 150. So it's all about the instrument that caps you at 100.
Yes.
There's no biological reason. It's just basically that's the needle only goes so far.
That's
Okay, thank you. Any follow-up questions based on that?
No.
I think you can step down. We're done with her? All right. Can we let her get back to Lansing?
Yes.
Any thought that you want to stick around for rebuttal or anything?
I have no.
She can go back to Lansing? All right. So drive safely, Miss Kellogg. Thank you. Watch my ramp here. Don't let it trip you.
Deep line here. Thanks very much.
I'm gonna bet we're ready for Officer Tony.
Yes.
Is it officer or sergeant? Officer? Glenn, would you call Officer Tony, please? Counsel, when you're ready.
Officer, Tony, would you state your full name for the record, please?
Officer Kenneth Tony, Sumter Township.
And how long have you been the police officer for Sumter Township?
7 years, a little over 7 years.
7 years. Did you work somewhere else?
Retired from Van Buren Township, 28 years,
So altogether, you've been
35 years.
35 years as a police officer? Okay. And you went through training at the police academy somewhere at some point?
Wayne County Regional in 1992.
And you read all the standards, you've been certified as a police officer, and you continue to be certified as a police officer, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On this particular day involving this particular defendant, you recognize the man who was here is sitting next to brother counsel, Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Okay, you know him as Alan Block?
Alan Block.
Okay, this happened a couple years ago. At this point, April of 2024. April 13th. Can you tell the jury how you came about to encounter Mr. Block on that day in Sumter Township?
I was sent to a vehicle in the roadway with a guy passed out behind me.
And what that's a dirt road? Park Street? Park Road?
Clark Road is a gravel roadway. And the
Okay.
caller said they were on their way to work and see.
And Clark is the boundary line between Sumter and Huron, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it just so happens that this defendant was on the Sumter side of the road,
Yes.
correct? So what did you received a call to go, what time of day or night was this?
I believe 7:30 in the morning. We had a similar call at 5:30 a.m. for a
Unless they're
scene.
ignorant down the road. I mean, unless they're gonna show a foundation, that's not legal my client.
Would that be relevant? Did they have a prior call?
Is the testimony that it has something to do with my client. That's not at all.
Yeah, I don't know whether it does or doesn't,
All right, move on.
yes. So at the time did you encounter the defendant, what did you observe?
I pulled up, I've seen a vehicle matching what they gave us. And when I pulled to the side of it, I could see Mr. Block inside the driver's seat. Appeared to be passed out.
The door was open,
Door was open.
the car that you would have given a description of was a red vehicle?
Yeah, it was a red, I believe, I'm not sure how I'd have to look to report it, because they just gave it as a red vehicle, red maroon vehicle.
So that matched up with the information you had, you approached the vehicle, you found somebody behind the wheel. Can you identify that person in court? Was it?
Mr. Block sitting in the defense box.
Noted for the record.
Okay. And what was the initial encounter? What did that consist of with Mr. Block?
I walked up, he was in the driver's seat and he was obviously passed out.
So obviously passed out. How did that Was she sleeping or was
Yeah, he
he
was
snoring or?
sleeping, snoring, door open, he's just laid out in the seat and, he was out of it. And the car was in the middle of the roadway with the door open.
And when you pulled up, did he react to you?
No,
How did you get a reaction from him?
once I made contact with him, I reached in and touched his shoulder and was shaking. He asked me to wake up.
Okay, and then at that point, we have all this on body camera, is that,
Yes, sir.
you're stating you were wearing a body camera that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have that body camera, video, I believe it's been shared with brother counsel. If we could play that now,
That's one, can we approach that we off the record those?
Sure.
Start, we've done. Like, there's people, he's gone. There's just about time. So we actually, so we just gotta start. I do think, but. I think the, well, we have a couple of three, with the writer. But, you know, and then a couple of sometimes, we get this. We don't get all that, I don't know. Yeah. Okay. The machine is, you know. Let's see it. Let's see it.
So they can do that on the screen.
I want to make sure that,
make sure it's the same one you saw.
yes.
Who's gonna play here?
I just got my, are they,
Depends on him.
not, I can shut down and we can do it that way.
You want to watch it on earth before the presentation? You want to take the time out? It's up to you. I want to review it for credibility.
We have any doubt that it's the same video?
No, I think what the officer is suggesting that maybe we should look at it and make sure everything's clipped out, that's up here.
Well, can't you just watch your counter?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. I don't want to take a break. So I was trying to do it with share screen.
Your code is on the home to share. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I just lost you too. I just lost my. There we go.
Travel,
Pardon me?
right travel lane of the roadway. Yes.
The cars are going past, it's not presenting any danger to cars going by, right, cars, the time you were there were humans driving by, right?
Absolutely.
And when you approached them, you said he was passed out.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a difference between passed out and sleeping? In your mind? No. Okay, so you agree, he's asleep.
Absolutely.
And would you agree he was in a pretty sound sleep? Yes. Okay. So when you woke him, you kind of figured, I mean, judging from what I saw, you kind of figured right off the bat that he's under. Is that fair?
Something's up, I'll give you that. Something's wrong with me. Why would you go to sleep in your car with the door open in the roadway?
Well,
Not a normal thing that happens.
who opened it?
It was open,
I don't know, I'm asking you, if you know from your investigation.
no clue.
So
What
when
you
you,
see is what
did somebody check on it?
I don't,
Well, I thought you said there was a cost, and they went back.
there was a call, but I don't know if they checked on him. I don't know if they got out. I don't know what they did.
So like, would you agree there's a possibility somebody checked on it and opened it up?
Possible.
And are you certified to give those directives?
From my academy that I took, yes, in '92.
Okay, so you got certified in 1992.
Yes.
Were you certified to do any sobriety tests when they had to do with drugs detection?
No.
Are you certified,
Not specifically.
are you certified today for that? No, okay. So are you, if you know, what's a drug recognition evaluator for?
I don't know.
Have you ever heard that term? Can't hear that.
Yes,
And you don't know what it means?
that's a drug recognition officer or something.
So what-
Dre, or they call him a Dre,
And what's the job of a drug recognition officer?
I guess, to detect drugs.
And on this occasion, there was no drug recognition officer there, right?
No.
And Phil's sobriety test, since you went to the academy way back. And when I say way back, I'm not being derogatory because I didn't look back to, okay?
Absolutely.
Understood. You were taught to do Phil's sobriety test as a result of alcohol,
Yes.
not drugs. Have you ever taken any classes?
They say that they're acceptable for both. I don't know technically.
And who's they?
Yeah.
Who's they?
When we learned the testing, it was used for a lot of different things. So
So when you, basically, the way I see the case or your decision, it's based on the car being parked. Oh, was the car running?
no, car was off, he was in,
Car wasn't running.
was not right.
And then the back up, and so. What did you observe? Or is it your testimony that he failed to drive or he was substantially impaired, the driving was substantially impaired to be parked and went to sleep?
I don't understand what you're asking.
What you arrested him for operating while intoxicated by marijuana? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how was it driving intoxicated? I mean, what kind of driving did we have that was substantially?
He couldn't pass any field sobriety. Those field sobriety tests are very standard. If you're not under the influence of something, you should be able to pass those. Relatively easy. They're not hard.
Well,
Obviously, there was something going on. He couldn't answer questions. He didn't know where he was. Something was going on with him.
well, let's talk about the field sobriety.
He couldn't pass the field sobriety.
There's three of them,
Yeah.
right? And you do,
There's things.
what was, okay, we had what, something that field sobriety. So,
The first one's ABCs.
okay, let's talk about that.
Yep.
So when you come up to somebody and tell them to do the ABC, do you ask them, do you know your ABCs?
I believe that I asked him if he graduated school, so you should know ABCs, correct?
I don't know. Do you ever ask them?
I even do it for them and explain it to them as I go, so.
I didn't see you do the ABCs for them, but maybe you did. I could have missed
I
it.
started the ABCs
But
for
my
him.
question is, do you ever ask ahead of time to whether somebody knows the ABC? Some people don't. Is it fair to say, I'm sure you come across it, but some
didn't.
people don't know the ABC.
I would have to look, I believe in there that I asked him if he knows the ABCs.
Yeah.
We might have to look back, but I believe I
I
asked
think
him.
you asked them if you graduated.
Yes, I did.
And when you had them do the hill to toe test,
Yes,
and one of the things I think back from your certification days, I know it's a long time ago, but the terrain is supposed to be level, correct?
Yeah.
Correct?
yeah, it is level as you can get, yes.
Oh, well, but if it's not level, you want to give the test, would you?
If it was where he couldn't make the test, no.
Okay, so when I
But you
was,
see me perform the test, what,
when I was looking at the video, he's on a dirt road, which appeared to be major potholes in that road. That's what I saw. Is that accurate?
no, it's not accurate.
Okay, so I didn't see that when I looked at that video.
Pretty smooth in the area where I had him do it. You've seen me do it prior to him doing it.
And does somebody's body shape affect his ability to balance? When you took your classes, does that have an effect on that?
Absolutely.
When you're overweight,
Yeah.
can't carry your weight properly, does that affect that test?
It can, yes.
Okay. And but you don't think that affected my client?
No, we don't.
And that's based on your certification back in the 90s?
Based on my experience, yes.
And what's the two others back? Okay.
I would have to look, I believe.
Oh, yeah, counting.
I believe
4, 3, 2, 1.
dexterity, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. He goes 1, 2, never touches his index or his pinky, and then goes right back and still doesn't do it, touching to the middle.
But we saw the test and you said, good job, but that, like, do you mean that?
Trying to get him to continue my testing, so.
Okay. But I didn't see, you couldn't see that in the testing, that he didn't do that, but you're saying he didn't do that.
4, 4, 3, 2, 1, he's good.
So I'm gonna get back now. How was his driving substantially affected by the use of marijuana, in your opinion? That led to your advice.
Well, if he has anything in his system, he shouldn't be operating one vehicle by law. I don't know what his specific abilities.
So you don't know what his ability, how his ability to perfect that is. Nothing first?
Any follow?
Yes. Tony, with regard to, the alcohol portion of this, when you were encountering the defendant, you didn't know what you were dealing with. Okay.
No, no idea.
You had no idea. You just made observation. What you saw, you appeared to be confused, you appeared to be passed out, you appeared to be under the influence of something, but you didn't know what. Is that safe to say?
Correct.
Okay. Turned out that it wasn't alcohol, but you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Okay. With regard to the operation, were the keys in the ignition at the time you rolled
Yes,
up on the
sir.
car?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and, I heard there was what was going through your mind in terms of was there a circumstantial situation where the car got there that he was the one that had driven it?
He was in the driver's seat. He was the only person in the vehicle. My first thought was this didn't need medical, it was a very medical issue that was going on. It really wasn't for an investigation for alcohol until after I woke him up. My first thought was, okay, is he alive? I don't know. You see what I see. I pull up on a car with the door open and a guy in the seat. I don't know. The investigation just goes from there, and then it ended up where it did.
It's safe to say that the car didn't get there miraculously somehow. It got driven to the point where it got driven to.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that when you're factoring in terms of the circumstantial nature of the driving?
Yes.
Okay. With regard to the field sobriety test, Mr. Duncan, cross-examined that. It's safe to say, I would say, in my situation too, things changed a lot in the last 35 years, right? From when you went to the academy and got certified to administer field sobriety test, correct?
Yes, they have.
Okay, and did you have a drug recognition officer at the time you started working as a police officer?
No, sir.
No. Is that something relatively new, a drug recognition officer?
Yes.
Are you required to be a drug recognition officer?
Not that I've been advised.
No. Did anybody say, Officer Tony, you need to get certified as a drug recognition officer in order to do your job?
No, sir.
Okay. So the observations and what you did in your investigation, it was based on your 35 years of police experience, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I heard criticism of the walking heel to toe test, that it wasn't done on level ground because apparently there were, Mr. Duncan said he saw potholes in the road. Did you see any potholes out there?
There were potholes in the road, but not where I gave the test at. That was
You made
pretty
sure.
pretty flat, and you see me, I walked out specifically showing that I could walk it.
Mhm.
So,
And this was done in broad daylight. This wasn't done after midnight or any dark or anything like that.
no, sir.
So we made sure.
They like
Clear
you've
levels.
seen on the video.
Okay. I think that's what I.
Did a couple of times. Officer Tony, does Suffolk Township have a drug recognition evaluated officer?
We currently do now. We did not at the time of it.
So if this were to happen today, since it's, do you handle it, or we call it drug recognition?
I would call them out.
And why is it?
Because that's what our policy now says that I have to do.
Is that because he's qualified?
No clue.
Is
I would have to assume they don't want me doing it.
And that's because you're not qualified. Nothing.
I guess he was qualified at the time. I mean, you can't hold it to the standard of something, and they have one now, 2 years later.
Are you objecting to something? Or are you testifying about something?
That question, last question, restricted to say that Officer Tony isn't qualified to make that assessment. He was qualified in 2024.
You've already established that. You asked him, did anybody tell him he had to be qualified to do his job? And he said no. But things change now. All right. Can you step down? Watch your step. Anything else from the people?
Judge, I would like to take a minute.
Sure. You guys ready for a little break? Just a short break? Okay. So I'm going to make some comments and you guys tell me if you agree. At most, we're going to have one more witness. Then the attorneys and I are going to take probably 15 minutes to finalize final instructions. You'll hear the closings. I'll give final instructions and we're going to deliberate. So with that rough timeline in mind, use your time back there collectively to talk about whether or not you just want to keep rolling and work through lunch and hopefully get done early afternoon, or if you want to stop for lunch and come back and continue. If you tell me you want to keep going and things go a lot longer than I anticipate they're going to go, you can at any point say, you know what, we got to have a break. We want to have lunch now. Understand the discussion parameters? Okay. Agreed with what I said, fellas? Okay. All right. So let's take you back for a break. Mr. Duncan, you can have a minute with Mr. Block. Everybody else can stretch your legs.
Judge, can you go up?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I said you can stretch. Yeah.
What did they choose?
I just told him to talk about it. It's funny, the live stream stopped or the chat stopped.
Because I had to turn it off.
It was back on.
I turned it back on. When we lose Zoom, we lose live stream.
No, I know, but the chat's just stopped.
Because we turn it off. Now it'll come back.
Yeah,
It
but
starts over every time.
I know, but that's my point. There's just nothing since we started again.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Oh, is it? Because it's not coming up. Last I got is lunch recess.
Yeah, that's the last thing. Is that what?
Oh, okay. All right. Talking about me. Why don't you go grab Hurley and bring him in?
No, I'm not doing that.
This is pretty quick.
Let me grab Heather.
Yeah, oh, God, I had no nitpicking.
Mike, I'm done.
The judge wanted something?
No, I'm done.
This is the question, make it all seem to be done.
Look, me.
Let me know when you're back on.
I'm on.
All right, guys, we're back on.
Judge, I just like to put a motion for directive because the reason I'm doing it, and I don't do this ever, but Officer Tony, I asked him a point blank question, what's your testimony as to how it was right? And his answer was he can't give him he can't tell the officer. That's what he said. So I have an officer who makes an arrest for an operating while intoxicated, but I asked him, how was the driving affected? And he said, I can't tell you how. That was his answer.
Go ahead, Mr. Rule.
Yeah, you're right. he responded on redirect that as part of his investigation, he reached the conclusion that Mr. Block had operated the car to get it there. That was circumstantial, but he did operate the vehicle in his mind because he was sitting still behind the wheel. He's pretty efficient. So on the basis of his investigation, he made that leap. But circumstantial evidence is good evidence. There's a jury instruction to that effect. The jury can consider it, you know, how they consider it.
That's two different questions, though. That goes to the element that has to be proven that he was operating. Mr. Duncan's argument goes to the element that says he has to have been operating with substantial impairment or influence. If I understand your argument.
And I do agree that circumstantial evidence would put him operating, plus he was in the car, so he's controlling the vehicle, so I'm not arguing that. But the problem is what the officer testified to. He said point blank, he can't tell me I was driving. You can't have an, it's hard to have an operating on high state when the arresting officer testimony is, I can't tell you how was operation.
Different question.
Circumstantially, the officer's opinion, he drove the car to get it there, and then based upon the officer's contact and observation, he felt that he was under the influence or impaired.
But that's not one of the elements. One of the elements is that the driving was affected because of the consumption. That's a direct, I mean, I can read you the elements from the jury instruction. His argument is there's no evidence on the record of that particular element. You can't have a banana cream pie with no bananas. I'm trying to clarify your argument, but I think that's what you're saying.
The problem here is the officer on his own court is testifying, I don't know how to record. I can't tell you. And the officer can't tell how the jury makes a determination.
Big circumstantially.
What's the circumstantial evidence about his bad driving?
The car is out in the middle of the road and the officer's.
Well, with all due respect, Officer Tony, it was not in the middle of the road. It was about as far to the right as it could be without getting in vegetation.
It's in a lane of travel.
But it wasn't in a lane of travel. I saw the same video you did. It was as far to the side of the road as it could get. And even if I give you it was stopped in the middle of the lane, you're saying that's circumstantial evidence of bad driving? Or a medical event that caused him to pass out in the middle of the driving?
Yes.
Or 100 other reasons he could have stopped where he stopped at the time he stopped. I've never granted a directed verdict for a jury trial, I don't think. But I'm considering it this time because I don't hear any evidence that says his driving was bad.
It's your decision, Judge.
I'm giving you a chance to argue it.
Argue what I could argue. I presented the testimony that I have. I can't just manufacture.
No, I don't let you do that.
It is what it is.
I agree, it is what it is.
It's a tweeter from the get-go.
I'm going to grant it. Need to take it away from the jury. All right.
Well,
Go ahead, make a record.
no, are we on the list?
We're still on the record, yeah.
No, well,
You want to go off record? We can go off record.
Was this man really driving under the influence? Or was he simply sleeving in a parked car? That question became the center of a tense courtroom trial where every detail mattered. The case began after police received a call about a man passed out inside a vehicle early in the morning. When officers arrived, they found the defendant asleep in the driver's seat with the door open. At first, officers believed alcohol might be involved. But there was one problem. A closer investigation showed there was no alcohol. Instead, prosecutors argued that marijuana had impaired the defendant's ability to operate a vehicle. The prosecution presented blood test results showing 5.8 nanograms of active THC in the defendant's system. They called a forensic scientist from the state crime lab to explain how the blood sample was tested and confirm that active THC was present. But when the prosecutor tried to connect that number to the defendant's driving ability, the case took an unexpected turn. The defense immediately objected. The attorney argued that a number by itself doesn't prove impairment. He pointed out that the expert couldn't say when the marijuana had been consumed or whether the defendant was actually under the influence while sitting in the vehicle. Then the judge stepped in. He stopped the questioning and made it clear that the jury